Oh, we're back and it's a meta change coming. These are very, very few and far between, so super excited. Hopefully, it's going to be a good one. Doesn't come out till the 11th of March, and we had some pretty big announcements which are definitely causing some shock to the community, let's say. Let's start with the dynamic demotivation ratio and actually see if we can dig into what this means for different ranks of the season. So we haven't been given the values for how the ratio is calculated. I did even ask for if I could get the values for this video, and I wasn't given them. So we're going to have to put our thinking caps on here and see if we can try and reverse engineer it with a couple of assumptions. So caveats here. This could be well off the mark, but hey, it could be close as well. And we'll see if we can get some numbers that actually add up nicely. And to do that, we're going to take the first figure we can get off this list here, and that's 10 times for starting the league at the lower VP ends of the league, and then all the way up to 1.5 times at the highest VP. So we can make an assumption there. The highest VP is going to be rank 1. Rank 1 will only be able to attack 1.5 times, or effectively a third lower than them. I think that calculates out to. Yeah, if you were, say, 1.5 billion VP or something, or GVP, you could attack 1 GVP. Okay, and then at the bottom end, 10 times, nice and easy. It's actually a tenth rather than 10 times, so 1 out of 10. And the example down below here actually breaks that down. So at the bottom end, 10 times, if you're 10,000 VP, you can attack someone who's at 1/10 of your strength. Or if you were to reverse it, which I think is what they were trying to say here, if you were 1,000 VP, someone 10 times your strength can attack you. Okay, cool. So we got those basic figures. We got 2 points now to try and sort of build a math ratio out of. But we're going to have to try and find a third point to really lock it in. And so we're going to have to use some Million Lords reoccurring numbers to see if we can figure out what that would be. And I'm thinking that based on the example of using 10,000 VP as the 10 times, I'm going to guess that 10,000 VP is the magic 15% number, which we see crop up a lot in the ranking of the leagues. So, and more so, I'm thinking when we go and have a look at Silver League, fat fingered that one. When we go and have a look at Silver League over here, below 15% remain in the league. So what that actually tells us is 85% actually go above. Now I'm reckoning that 10,000 figure for the 10 times, or 1/10, what they're meaning, is actually 85% ranking. And if we then take it back to this little graph here we got here, if we talk about the top player can then attack for 1.5 times, or someone who is basically 1/3 of their VP. 2/3 of their VP. So if we take those together, then we can maybe assume that it's going to be a linear graph, and we can build one of these. So just, wow, okay. So I didn't build this directly. I went to ChatGPT and got it to make it nice and fancy graph. I gave it some numbers just to give it some rough estimates of where the leaderboard would actually be with regards to our top rank 1 player sitting here on 1.5 billion VP. I just gave it that figure just to give it something to work with to show our results. And then the 85th percentile player being 10,000 VP. I've got to stop clicking on this and bringing up all the other pictures. Anyway, what we can see is we then get these ratios which are seen in the middle, and then you can start figuring out. So if you're a sort of rank 50th, then it looks like you can attack down by 6.27 times instead of the standard what we're used to of the 0.3 percent of your VP. So the math will get a little bit harder to calculate, but they did say they're going to have a tooltip just to show you as you go who you can actually attack, which will be nice. You don't need to figure these ones out. What does this mean for the player base? It's kind of interesting. It means that, well, my assumptions are that the top ranked players are going to have almost all their actions going to be defending. Now, in a standard high tier server, that's sort of all they do anyway, really. Most of them in the current meta are just building if they're on the top ranks, and so they're just defending their own teammates attacking them. As we move down to sort of the 20% mark, we really bang on, and these figures could be slightly off. We're really bang on where the standard current demo range is. So most players in a season of the active lot are probably only 50% of the player base anyway. The rest are very, very inactive anyway. So does it truly matter if they're if they've got bigger demo ranges? I don't know yet. But what I will say is for the active lot who are really competing and they're in the correct league for themselves and they haven't pushed too far ahead for where their gear should be at, then the 40 to 20 percentile ranges, not going to see too much extra drama. It will be a little hard at that 40-50% mark when you're talking 5 and 6 times. You can obviously attack down 5 and 6 times. It's going to help you grow your base and get out of sticky situations. And then those players above you are not going to be able to attack you with 5 or 6 times. They're only going to be able to attack you with that sort of 3 or 2 times, depending on where they're actually falling. Well, and then in my example VPs here, if 10% is 500 million and 30% is 50 million, there's no way they're ever going to get anywhere near you if you're at the 30% mark. So I don't know if it's going to be all that bad, but we'll have to wait and see. Cleaners are going to get a bit of a buff in this, but we've got to talk about what's happening with salvager. So let's get over to salvager and see if we can make some assumptions over on that one. Jumping in, salvager down here. Currently, the system does not differentiate between troops defended by the player's defending army and those defended by city walls. Starting next season, salvager rewards will depend on percentage of the city's total defense contributed by players' troops. The greater the contribution of the city's total defense, the more gold salvager will generate. So, is that telling us salvager is now going to work a lot like how scavenger works when you're attacking, except we're going to have to do some funky math around finding the total percent of the attack which came from, total percent of the defense which came from the walls, and then the total percent that came from the troops, including their buffs by guardian, and including, if we jump over to a city, the defense bonus that the city gave the troops, because this bad boy here goes on to your troops guardian. City walls being deducted. So it does make a lot of sense. Now, to get that actual math and to be able to go and punch into some sort of spreadsheet calculator and find exactly how much gold you're going to generate off a city of a specific wall amount, so in this case 663G, and then how many troops you add onto it, what your guardian is, what their troops used are, what their striker is, how much they win by, it does become a bit more of a complicated formula, but it is doable.